Multiple West Virginia basketball players have grown uneasy and decided to enter the transfer portal. Meanwhile, it appears that West Virginia will have this coaching search wrapped up by the weekend. Let's go. What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Jordan Cruz back here with the Country Roads webcast. And before I get into this video, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you would do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Giving this video a like will help not only its performance, but future videos performances here on the channel. And if you're a West Virginia fan and you haven't already, be sure hit that subscribe button. It's fast, easy, and free to do. It helps us and it helps you, as it helps get more of this Mountaineer sports content out to Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, let's get into it. All right, so what a difference a day can make, right? Just yesterday, put out a video early yesterday morning talking about how Thursday it appeared John Beilein had raced ahead to the coaching search. We hadn't really had too many transfers yet. The only one that was reported at that time was Tre Mitchell. Since then, a lot of those things have changed. The talks with John Beilein unfortunately kind of fizzled out. West Virginia will not be going in that direction. John Beilein will not be the next head coach at WVU. We'll talk more on that coaching search here in just a minute. But before we do that, we have to address the transfers that have left the West Virginia Mountaineer basketball program and some others that may be waiting in the wings to do the same, depending on who the coach is that is hired at West Virginia. So let's take a look here at the couple transfer losses that we suffered yesterday following the loss of Tre Mitchell. All right, so as reported on WVSportsNow.com yesterday, and it was in short order yesterday, that West Virginia has officially lost both the point guards they had on the roster for the upcoming season, as Kerr, the Arizona transfer, announced he would be re-entering the transfer portal. He was shortly followed by Joe Toussaint doing the same. So as of now, West Virginia has Tre Mitchell, Joe Toussaint, and Kerr in the portal off this upcoming roster that we were so excited about here throughout Mountaineer Nation. And so, of course, that begs the question, who else is to follow? Is anyone else going to follow? And we do have a little bit of info on that as well. And this also coming from Ethan Bach over on WVSportsNow.com. We also know that Raekwon Battle, Jesse Edwards, and Jose Perez are not entering the transfer portal as of now, but they are waiting to see who is hired at West Virginia before they make that decision. So they're not saying they're not entering the portal. They're not saying they are entering the portal. It's just all kind of contingent on who West Virginia hires to be the next coach of the men's basketball program. And, by the looks of things, it seems like the players are trying to have a little say-so in that decision by West Virginia. So I think as fans, our best hope is that the hire is a coach that these incoming transfers and this returning roster will rally behind and get behind, so that we can at least keep some of these guys intact, because that's the other side of the coin when it comes to Tre Mitchell, Kerr, and Joe Toussaint that we mentioned earlier that are already in the portal. They have all stated, or at least two of the three have stated, that if they like the hire at West Virginia, they are open to coming back to WVU. So even though those guys have entered the portal, that doesn't necessarily mean they won't come back to WVU. That possibility is still there. We'll see how it plays out. But now we just got to cross our fingers and hope Battle, Edwards, and Perez like the hire that we will hear of this upcoming weekend and choose to stay at WVU. And in regards to that coaching hire, we've had a lot of info come out since our last video here on the CRW, so we're going to try and update you on this coaching search now and who the remaining candidates are. Some of them we've already talked about in the past, some of them we haven't, but let's break that down now. All right, so yesterday it was learned that West Virginia had planned to wait till Thursday to start kind of the interview process for these coaches, but plan to have a hire in place by Monday at the latest. We know that on that Thursday, I reported they talked to Ron Everhart and Josh Eilert, who are believed to be the primary candidates to be promoted from within if West Virginia chooses to go that route. Then we also know that West Virginia held a Zoom call Friday, a Zoom interview with Andy Kennedy of UAB yesterday. I believe Jared Calhoun had one as well. And I believe today on Saturday, they're going to do in-person interviews. But in addition to those names that we've talked about in the past, there are some others that are being thrown in here. I don't know if they had their interviews yet or if they're going to, but they certainly are names to look at, and we'll talk a little bit about them because we haven't had a chance to yet. As I scroll up here, you will see a lot of this reporting coming from Adam Zagoria on Twitter. He's a great follow for Hoop News there on Twitter. Ethan Bach sharing it here as well, as you see here, detailed on this great article over on WVSportsNow.com, which is doing a great job of keeping up with this coaching search and everything. So be sure, head over to their site and track it if you haven't been. But West Virginia also appears to be targeting Liberty's Richie McKay and Tulane's Ron Hunter in these talks for the potential open vacancy at the program. So let's take a look at each of these guys, since we haven't had a chance to talk about them quite yet. I know we've shared the Wikipedia of some of the other top candidates, Andy Kennedy, Jared Calhoun, etc. So let's take a look here at Richie McKay and Ron Hunter. Starting with Richie McKay here, who is now the head coach of Liberty, but previously he was an assistant head coach to Tony Bennett at Virginia when they were having all of their great success. But as you can see, his overall record as a head coach, 226 and 113, nearly 67% winning percentage. He has been at Liberty since 2015, where, as you can see here, he has won 20 plus games in each of the past 7 seasons. So that's a pretty good accomplishment there at Liberty. So probably not a bad candidate there, Richie McKay. But let's take a look at the other candidate that's name has been thrown in here now, and that's one that may be a little bit more familiar to people, and that's Ron Hunter, the head coach of Tulane currently. However, I, like many of you, probably remember Ron Hunter most from when he was at Georgia State, and they made a nice little run in the NCAA tournament with his son there playing for them, Ron Hunter Jr., RJ Hunter, hitting some big shots in that NCAA tournament. I certainly remember that a few years ago. But he has since been the head coach at Tulane, and he has had pretty good success there for a program that has not had a ton of success. But you see his overall record, 430 and 331, nearly a 57% winning percentage. And as we scroll down here to the records, you can see while he was at Georgia State, he had 6 seasons with 20-plus wins, including 3 NCAA tournament appearances and winning the conference multiple times, so really turned things around there. And he's done the same at Tulane, a program that was really in disarray when he took over. As you can see, it took him a couple years, but this past season, even won 20 games with that Tulane squad. So I don't think Ron Hunter is a bad candidate for West Virginia either. I don't know how much traction either one of these two names is going to gain. It certainly seems like promoting from within, or maybe Andy Kennedy, will be the move for West Virginia. We'll see how it plays out. We should know something in the next couple of days, but definitely wanted to give a chance to feature Richie McKay and Ron Hunter, since their names have been brought into the coaching discussions as well. So we now know that West Virginia hopes to have this wrapped up very soon. And we also know that the players are hoping to have a guy that they really want to see on board with this staff. And I've also heard that a main factor for these players and for this roster is that whoever comes in must retain Jay Kuntz. If they don't bring back Jay Kuntz, a lot of these players may hit the portal, even those that are kind of waiting to see who West Virginia hires. But we know that if West Virginia was to promote from within, that would really satisfy a lot of these guys on the roster. So how about this report coming out from Adam Zagoria late last night, and we may have a new favorite for this West Virginia basketball coaching job. As I said, this coming from Adam Zagoria over there on Twitter. This is from his blog there. You can find it online at zagsblog.com. But he says, West Virginia targeting Josh Eilert to replace Bob Huggins as head coach. This came out late last night. West Virginia assistant coach Josh Eilert has emerged as the favorite to replace Hall of Famer Bob Huggins, and an announcement could come as soon as Saturday, multiple sources said. That's the day I'm recording this, guys. Luckily, I'm off today. If this does become official at any point, I'm going to try and do a live stream later. Wanted to do one last night to kind of update this info, but ended up getting home later from work, so just putting it out as a pre-recorded video for you guys, but would love to get a chance to chat with you guys about some of this. But continuing on here, West Virginia officials spoke Thursday night with Eilert and fellow assistant Ron Everhart in a fact-finding mission, while various other established head coaches, including former West Virginia coach John Beilein, UAB coach Andy Kennedy, Liberty's Richie McKay, Tulane's Ron Hunter, and Youngstown State's Jared Calhoun, have all been linked to the job. So all of which we have now reported on here at the CRW, now that we've added Richie McKay and Ron Hunter's name to that list as well. And what we know about Eilert, of course, is that he has been here since the very beginning when Bob Huggins took over in 2007. So, that has to bode well for continuity's sake, I guess. And I know a lot of the players and stuff were wanting to see this happen. So if this does come to fruition, it might be a good thing for the roster. I know there's going to be a lot of people skeptical just because of the fact that Josh Eilert has 0 head coaching experience, but everyone has to start somewhere, and he certainly has enough familiarity with the program, and we'll see how it plays out if this does indeed end up being the move, as reported here by Adam Zagoria. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe coming out later today that Josh Eilert could be promoted to be the head coach of West Virginia. So there you have it, Mountaineer Nation. A few players entering the transfer portal, a couple potentially leaving the door open to return, and we now know a list of about 5 names that we can expect to be named as the head coach this weekend as West Virginia hopes to have this wrapped up soon. And according to reports, it may indeed be Josh Eilert. And if that is the ultimate decision to promote Josh Eilert, how are you feeling about that, or would you prefer one of these other names? Plus, do you think these transfers really will return to West Virginia if it is Josh Eilert? Be sure to let us know down in the comments. We really appreciate those interactions as we continue to try and grow the Country Roads webcast community throughout Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go, Mountaineers.